one is for school partnership. That's the blueprint.
Thank you, Isaac. So, as you all know, Director General Ghana Education Service, Professor Poku Amankwa, is the one going to take us through the presentation. So, if you are ready, DG, your media is ready, and directors are also ready. You are ready.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this press briefing. Let me start by wishing you all discuss the issue of school reopening. He gave the highlights, and he also indicated that the Ministry of Education and Education Service and then other related agencies and ministries will provide the details and the arrangements that we've made for school reopening. So this presentation is to give you something on reopening. We will start with some background, and then we'll look at the calendar, and then we'll look at issues relating to examinations, that is WASSCE and BEC. By way of background, we all recall that on the 16th of March last year, the President announced the closure of schools. And in the announcement, he also indicated that we should make arrangements for online teaching and learning. At the time of closure, he indicated that the final years should be in schools. That is SHS 2 and then SHS 3 and then JHS 3. Subsequently, WAEC suspended exams within the sub-region, so we needed to get the students to come home. So they came home. Then in June, we started the phased reopening of schools. Schools were reopened for the examination class to go and finish up their program and then subsequently write their exams. Further in October, and the main reason was that they are the next group of students who will be writing exams. And we needed to make some arrangements so that at least we reduce the time that they will be at home, the contact hours that they will be losing. So we did that, and then by December 18th, the two classes came home for Christmas. Now, per our arrangement, we have these days for reopening. For SHS 3 and SHS 2, green, and then single track, they will reopen school on the 15th of January 2021. And then SHS 1 and SHS 2, gold, will reopen school 10th March 2021. JHS 1 to 3 will reopen school 18th January 2021. And then KG primary, KG 1 to primary 6, they will also reopen school January 18th, 2021. Now, before we go on to this slide, let's go back. Before we go on to this slide, when we come to the calendar where we show the pictures, there's some explanation that we'll do specifically for JHS. This time round, JHS will be running semester program JHS will be running semester program. As we have always done, we make sure that the basic protocols are observed. So there will be disinfection of all schools. There will be provision of Veronica buckets, soaps, hand sanitizers, and tissue papers to the schools. We will also provide the washable and reusable face masks. And then schools will not be available for outside activities. In addition to that, as part of our reopening program, we've also put in place something we call school re-entry for the vulnerable, especially for the girls who have stayed home for long and for one reason or the other, they may not be able to go to school. We have a special package through SHEP and girls' education to encourage them to go back to school. We will also continue with our online TV and radio programs to support teaching and learning. Now let's look at the SHS calendar. This is how it looks graphically. The red, I hope it is red.
Yes.
It is red, yeah. The red is for SHS 3. The green for SHS 2, green, and then the gold for SHS 2, gold, and then blue for SHS 1. Now, if you look at the calendar and you go to the end of the calendar, you will see that we have some numbers in the contact hours. What we have done is that we've prepared the calendar in such a way that we've taken into consideration the possible, the time that we've lost over the period and how we are going to catch up for that time. So if you look at the calendar, it is what we call the all year round calendar. It starts from January and ends in December. For the examination class, we expect that the examinations will be written in September, October, and then the year will end for them. Green track, gold track will still be in there for the second years. There will be double track for the second years. But for first years and then the third years, they will do single track. And as the president indicated, we are phasing out the double track. And as a way of phasing out, this time around, it is only 1 year group or one cohort that will be doing the double track, and that is the second years. If you look down there, there are 3 points that we've raised in there, and that relates to what I indicated much earlier. The TV, radio, online classes that will still continue to augment the face-to-face teaching and learning. Next, yeah. Now, we've looked at it graphically. Now we want to look at it putting dates into the program. So if you look at the first one, which is the year 3s, the form 3s, they will have 2 sessions in the first semester. They will have 2 sections in the first semester. The first section will start from 15th January, and then it will end on the 4th March 2021. Then they will have their vacation. And then their second section will start from 2nd April and then end on 28th May. Now, they're going to do these 2 sections so that we will have vacancies, or we'll have space for the first years to come in. Then they'll go to their second semester, and the second semester they will start off from 30th June 2021 until they write the WASSCE in September, October, and then they finish for the academic year. Now, for the second years, the green track, they will also have their first section and then a second section in the first semester. Their first section will start from 15th January to 31st March, and then they will have their break, and then from 1st June to 30th June, then they will break, and then they come back for their semester, second semester in July, 1st July 2021. 1st July is no more a holiday, yeah. So, and then they will end their academic year in December 18th. Then the gold and first year will come to school 10th March to 25th June, break up to 31st August, and then come back for their second semester, 1st September to 18th December. Now, the calendar that we showed was the calendar that will be used for the schools that will be doing double track, who were normally doing double track for all of them, but now some of them are doing the double track. There are also what we call the single track schools, and this is how their calendar will look like. They'll start from January to February, and then from April to May, and then from July to August, and then they'll finish their year. Then the second years will do one track, a single track, starting from January to February, April to May, and then July to the end of October, November. And then the first years, as has already been explained, will come to school in March, 10th March. The next slide explains all single track schools, their times from 15th to, the third years, all third years are doing single track. So as we explained, that 2 sections will apply to them. And then the second years, and then the first years as well. We move on to the other slide, which is the JHS. And as I indicated to you, the JHS will be doing semester. Can we look at the semester dates? Yeah, so this is how the semester will look like. They will start from January 18th to 11th June. And then they will break. And then they will come back for the second semester, 6th July, and then write their exams. For Form 1 and Form 2, 18th January to 11th June, they break, they come back for their second semester, and they finish up in on the 7th of December. But because it will be a very long period, what we have done is that we've also set out not midterm but mid-semester breaks. So we will have 15th to 19th 2021 March for first semester mid-semester break, and then second semester mid-semester break will be in September 6th to 10th 2021. The KG to primary 6 will continue with their trimester. They will continue with their trimester. We expect that overall they will do 42 weeks from January to November, and then they will break. So when we go on to the next slide, we'll look at the specific dates. School will start for primary and KG. School will start for all of them 18th January to 16th April. And then they will have the 17th April to 3rd May as their break period. Then their second term will be from 4th to 6th August, and then they will have their break from 7th to 5th September. Then their third term will be from 6th September to 10th December, and then their break will start from 11th December. In drawing up the calendar, the all-year-round calendar, what we took into consideration, the main concern was the contact hours, especially for those who will be writing exams. Contact hours for those who will be writing exams. And per our calculation, the period that they've stayed home till the period that they will be writing exams will be about 1,701 hours. So we made some proposals, assuming that they want to write the exams in May, June, which is the normal time that we were writing our exams. How many hours would we have covered? How many hours will be left? And from our table, we would have covered 980 hours, and the children will be short of 721 hours. Assuming that they write in August, September 2021, as they did in 2020 due to the COVID, then they were going to cover 1,520 contact hours, and then we'll be short of 181 hours. Then we looked at October, November. October, November is also a period that WAEC writes exams. So if we decide that we are agreeing for WAEC to write the exams for October, November, what it means is that they would have done 1,880 hours, and they will have about 180 extra hours that they would have done. But we also needed to make provision for marking and release of exams and then reopening. So if we decide to do October, November, it may be difficult for WAEC to release exams early enough for admissions to take place in January. So what, per our calculation, we have proposed September, October And when we put in the September-October date, we noticed that we would have covered 1,700 hours. So we will only be short of 1 hour contact period, which we can always make up for. So per these arrangements, we expect that the next examinations will be written in September, October, and we've already started discussions with WAEC on that. Now, looking into the future, we have planned, we are hoping that the COVID will go as soon as possible. But if the COVID persists for a while, then our projections are what we've put out there. For the 2021 academic year, we would write the exams in September, October for WASSCE, and then the BECE will do that in November. 2022, the WASSCE will then come up to July, August, and then the BECE will be in September. 2023, WASSCE will then, we could then come back to our normal situation, which will be the May, June, and then the BECE will follow suit. Usually, the BECE is written a week or two after the WASSCE. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you for your audience. Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, DG. We will, because of the three speaking stations, we will plead that you summarize it in three for us. Or we'll take the question. So if you ask a question in three, then you will answer in three. So that we don't go all over the slides again. So questions time. You raise your hand. And then okay, first person. From Joy, right? Please stand up and ask your question.
Press conference. I can't.
There's a question for you.
Yes.
Joy, please go ahead.
Good morning.
I hope you will note the questions. You have 3 questions.
3 questions.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
How we understand the number of projects specific in this school? For example, the number of classes that have been built. Then also for the plan for pupils, for the contact hours that pupils have missed, you just tabled plans for them. But then I was wondering, for children with special needs, are there any special plans for them?
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Any other? Is that 3? You've asked 2.
Yes. I'll let
You're saving the other one.
Yes.
Okay, did you take these ones and then we will take any other? Okay, so slides are exhaustive. You are okay with the slides. GSDF, do you have any question? Please answer these 2.
Yeah. So the infrastructure, much earlier in November, December, we did a presentation on the infrastructure that has been developed. And I've asked the PROs to make that available to you. And that infrastructure that has been developed has been categorized school by school, region by region. So all the details are there. And then it also even gives you the completion stage of all the infrastructure. So we have those that are completed, Those that are maybe 10%, 15%, 100%, etc. So he will make that available to you. It's a whole document that was presented, I think in November, is it?
Yes, it was in November.
November, yeah. So we'll make that available to you. We'll make that available to you. Yes, special education, as I indicated, I only talked about girls' education, but they are all part of the special education, and they have their own package whenever we do this. When we did the phased reopening, we had a special arrangement for them. Our special education division takes care of that and ensures that they do not lose out. So they are properly catered for under this new arrangement. Thank you.
All right, we take Kojo from Adom.
That's right. Now we show you know. Our video no. Third one no. Now you can't disinfection. Say a baby school or say disinfect schools ni na. Da be na yan hwe ni say disinfection no be start.
Now, is also in tree. Okay.
But then because yan kwala o matene fiache o mu be bi school no o mbo promote o mu nyina na say there's exams be on be tro before answer na o matimi akọ mo nim.
No. Okay, so let's take it. Is it tree? UTV, okay. Please, okay. Come on.
Okay, but your friend Benjamin from UTV. Just say Enra yet say President Ekasan no can say SSS1 be resume be started classes on 10th March. Let's just say 10th from Obebian be so clarify how no kakra me. Then just say let's just say 10th March and SHS1 one man we BC no e be go school ana na me bisa.
Okay, Monsieur Fremi Kojo Balfo, Angel. My same bisane say, and President Kasano, my say private schools any public schools in Indiana ABA. May bisa say private schools no, a fat textbooks any are the school fees no. I buy I want to say ABA or best so or masinana.
Textbooks in India. Any school fees. Yeah, so okay, yeah. More questions. Me yanu tree. Me yanu bro from Masa yanu tree. Say hamo. If say me just say bro for no so here. Disinfection of schools, as we did previously. Whenever the president has directed that schools should reopen, one of the things that he also directs that we do is that we prepare the schools for reopening. And one of the reasons why we are not reopening, in fact, a lot of people thought we were going to reopen within the first week of January. But one of the reasons why we are not reopening in the first week of January is simply that we want to have some time, at least 2 weeks, to make sure that we put in place all the necessary protocols that we need to, the PPEs. The disinfection will start very soon. Fortunately for us, disinfection for COVID is not like the fumigation for insects and reptiles and things like that. So disinfection normally will take about a day or two for you to be able to use the facility. So we're starting the process, and we're making sure that within the 2 weeks, the disinfection will be done for all schools. The next issue is about whether the students will be writing some exams or whether they will be promoted, etc. Now, we don't want to talk about promotion, but what we want to let you know is that they will all move one class ahead. And that is the reason why we've taken time to calculate the number of contact hours that are needed. So what we're going to do is to ensure that the lost time and then the lost curriculum or the things that they were supposed to have learned last year, they will cover all that and also cover what they are supposed to learn this year by the time they move from January to December. So those ones are technical issues that we, as the implementers of the program, will take time to work those things out and make sure that everything that they are supposed to have covered, they will cover. So by the time, if you are in class 1, yes, you move to class 2, but it doesn't mean that you have been promoted. It doesn't mean that you have been promoted. You move to class 2. But the class 1 curriculum that you were supposed to have covered, that you did not cover, we'll make arrangements to ensure that you cover that before you go on to also cover what you should cover in class 2. So by the time, hopefully, we are hoping that the COVID will not distract the calendar. So by the time they get to the November, December, when they are finishing the academic year, they would have covered what they need to cover to be in class 2 and then be ready the next January 2022 to go to class 3. So that is the answer for that. Schools are going to reopen for SHS1 on the 10th of March. Remember, their results were released in December, is it? Yes, in December, somewhere around 7th or so. Yeah, December. And as we usually do, once the results have come, that we are now going to do the school placement and all that. And then, when all is done, then they will go to school 10th March. Private schools. The arrangement for reopening of schools, the PPEs that we are putting in place, includes private schools. But issues of textbooks, issues of school fees are not part of that arrangement. Are not part of that arrangement. The COVID has its social, has its economic, has its financial and health-related issues that the government has decided that, as far as COVID says, issues relating to school reopening and things and the provision of PPEs, both private and public schools will be covered. But other things like school fees and textbooks are still the preserve of the private schools. So that is it. Obi pese ohun say school mu a ye spray na ye be fiase da ben. Na otwe mienu ye da ye nim ansa na school abue. Eno ne ye de be ye nhyehyɛ a ye de be ye ebe spray schools ni nyinaa mu. Schools a ebe spray mu no private school any public school nyinaa na ebe spray mu. Omo ye pre-tertiary any ebe spray mu. University for no any tertiary for no omo anso ebe ye omo nhyehyɛ na omo so e de spray omo school mu. Na sa spray na ye no eno no aban na e fa ho ka private school public school ni nyinaa aban nhyehyɛ a ode ebe ye no enti ye be ye eno pa ho a PPEs no so a esese a school for any of my teacher for ni nya no eno so ho nhyehyɛ yɛgu so a saa na wɔtwe mmienu mu no yɛbɛfi aseɛ sɛ yɛde bɛkokɔ district region ne district na ɔmo nso afi aseɛ akyɛ ɛde ama nkwaraa no sɛ ɔmo bue school a deɛ mɛtumi aka ho ne sɛ mɛsrɛ sɛ aban ɛbɛma nneɛma no bi na yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ awofoɔ ɛne wokɔ nkanka secondary school no mu ne ade a old boys ne old girls ne old students ne ade no ɛnso ɛbɛsom ama yɛn na ɔmo nso ɛde bi aka aban nneɛma na ɔde bɛma no ho nkwaraa no ɔmo apɔmuden ho hia nti biribiara a yɛn nso yɛbɛyɛ sɛ awofoɔ anaa sɛ kromafoɔ anaa old boys anaa old girls anaa old students ne yɛde bɛboa no ɛno nso ɛbɛhia maame nsa nka nso bio mu sɛ mate obi ɛfrɛ me sɛ private schools ne bi sɛ ɔmo pɛ sɛ nkwaraa ɛtɛste ansa na ɔmo akɔ school yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ ɛno nom no deɛ ɛnsɛ sɛ ɛyɛ ade a wode bɛtoɔ sa gye sɛ akwaraa atɛste ansa sɛ biribi saa bɛba a Ghana Health Service foɔ ɛne Ministry of Health foɔ ɛna ɔmo bɛma yɛ saa afotuo no nti yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ nkanka private school foɔ no mɛma obiara mfa testing ɛmɛtoɔ sɛ sɛ akwaraa no ntɛste yi a yɛma no mmɛ school anaasɛ yɛgye testing fee yɛsrɛ biribi saa bɛba a Ghana Health Service anaa Ministry of Health ɛna yɛbɛtu saa namɔ no anaa wɔbɛka sɛ yɛnyɛ biribi saa na obi pɛ sɛ ohu sɛ seesei no yɛyɛ promotion anaa yɛnyɛ promotion na mmom no akwaraa biara a ɔwɔ school mu seesi a na ɔbɛkɔ n'anim baako ɔmo wɔ KG1 ɔmo bɛkɔ KG2 ɔmo wɔ KG2 ɔmo bɛkɔ class 1 na edidi so saa deɛ nti a yɛyɛ saa nhyehyɛeɛ no didi kan paa ne sɛ nkwaraa bi aduru mmerɛ a ɛsɛ sɛ ɔmo kɔ school a ɔmo te fie nkwaraa a te fie sisi a ɛsɛ sɛ ɔmo kɔ school so ɔmo bɛkɔ KG anaa so ɔmo bɛkɔ class 1 no ebi wɔ hɔ no ma nkwaraa no nkɔ KG ɔmo nkɔ KG ɔmo kɔ class 1 straight nkwaraa yɛ sɛ ɔmo kɔ school KG anaa class 1 no ɔmo yɛ mpem ahansia ɔmo yɛ bɛyɛ mpem ahansia 600,000 na saa nkwaraa no yɛntumi ma ɔmo ntena fie na ɔmo nyini mmoro mfie a ɛsɛ sɛ ɔmo de kɔ school ho ɛnkyɛ biara yɛyɛ campaign bi wɔ ha sei mokɔ mo pie bi wɔ ha mbɛhwɛ na mimi photo mi minister photo second lady no photo ni ade a yɛde abɔ ma yɛka sɛ yɛma nkwaraa no nkɔ school nkwaraa no di mfie 9 pa yɛma no nkɔ school a brɔfom yɛ sɛ right age of enrollment enti sɛ yɛn yakɔbɔ da rosi yɛma nkwaraa no nkɔ school a yɛntumi nso nsa anhwɛ ma wɔn ntena fie enti nhyehyɛeɛ ne sɛ obiara bɛkɔ n'anim baako na mmom deɛ na ɛsɛ usua no a wɔanya kwan ɛnsua no yɛsan so ayɛ nhyehyɛeɛ sɛ wobɛsua saa adeɛ no ansa na deɛ baabi a waduro no nso no class a waduro no nso deɛ no nso no wasan asua ɛno nso aka ho mefi aseɛ sɛ meyɛ ma nsɛ mohwɛ yɛ a mekyerɛ brɔfo me se contact hours mmerɛ dodoɔ a ɔmo hia ɛsɛ sɛ ɔmo adi sua adeɛ yɛayɛ ne nyinaa ho nkontabuo me yɛho mmerɛ dodoɔ a ɔmo hia enti ɛno no yɛde deɛ ɛkaa mu no nyinaa ahyem nti sɛ yɛtumi ma ɔmo kɔ school a fi January ɛkɔpem December ne akwama nkakra na ɛde ama ɔmo na deɛ nanka ɛsɛ ɔmo sua na ɛkaa mu no ɔmo bɛsua no na deɛ ato sɛ ɛsɛ ɔmo sua no nso ɔmo sua no nso aka ho enti saa na ɛteɛ na ɛnyɛ sɛ bi a wayɛ ade wɔ school nti yɛ promote daabi ɛnyɛ saa ɛna ɛteɛ deɛ ɛtɔ so bio nso a enua baako nso bisa ayɛ ne sɛ reopening no na ɔsɛ ɔpɛ sɛ yɛsan team bio ɛma SHS1 ɔmo bɛkɔ school 10th March 2021 yɛwie a calendar no mo nsa bɛka nti mo bɛhu deɛ ɛwɔ mu no nyinaa obi nso bisa sɛ private school for ɔmo textbooks ɔmo nwoma ɔmo de sua adeɛ ɛne ɔmo school fees ɛno nso aban bɛso mu anaa deɛ ɛfa ɔmapɔmuden ho na ehia ɔmamu no ne amansan nyinaa no ɛyɛ covid na aba no ɛno ɛyɛ adeɛ a ɛda aban akoma so paa nti private school bibia aban bɛyɛ bia ɛbɛbɔ ɔmo ho ban no te PPEs ne adeɛ a yɛde ma no nyinaa yɛ mɔmo bi na mmom textbook deɛ any school fees deɛ ɛno no ɛyɛ private school for no ankrankra school no ɔmo a ɛna ɔmo ɛhyehyɛ ɔmo mmra ɛwɔ ho ɛna ɔmo a na ɔmo tɔ ɔmo textbooks nti ɛno deɛ ɛnka yɛn hyehyɛ ɛno ho that's it.
Okay, so my brother, do you still want to ask your question? That's been answered. A follow up. Okay, could you?
No, Prof, GHS for the 2 semester program. They say we say curriculum never home and one issue, and I say only issue different curriculum because when I say the same I'm here train will be for teachers or lecturers there on GHS and once you say
okay, is that all? Will be your question for be on a tree? UTV.
And which is so teachers now I'm going to training. I'm not tired for now and I'm back.
No specific.
And name is so. Me anya reopening. Me anya near for reopening. Hona. I say the boom be bra ebe ha bi. Why?
Ben, UTV. Okay. What do you say, Triana? Station by okay. Go on.
Restrictions the Babasa school be flouted some of these orders. There were state punishment in here. From the big numbers of now.
Okay. Is there any tree station that would like to ask another question? Okay. Maybe we have to the last round of questions.
Yeah, okay. The first one has to do with the curriculum for GHS. We introduced the standard-based curriculum for primary schools now we are in 2021, so it should be last 2 years, isn't it? Last 2 years. And that curriculum ran from KG right down to primary 6. The JHS 1 students who will be primary 6 students who will be going to JHS 1 now did the standard-based curriculum. And as a sequel to the standard-based curriculum, they are also supposed to do what we call the common core curriculum. The common core curriculum. And that is the one that we are holding a series of training programs for our teachers. So JHS 1 will do the common core curriculum. And at another meeting with you, we'll give you more details on the common core curriculum. Today we want to concentrate more on school reopening. And then JHS 2 and JHS 3, they will continue with the existing curriculum. Way back in 2017, we worked with Ghana Health Service to map out health facilities in the districts, in the regions, in the towns, in the cities for our SHS schools. Again, we also ensured that all our schools have some sick bay facility. And this arrangement is the one that the president talked about. We are still going to ensure that the mapped schools and then the primary and the JHS schools are also mapped to health centers. Now we have health centers up to what we call chip compounds and all that. So that is an arrangement that we're working with health to make sure that we improve on it. On the issue of flouting of restrictions, we've had 2 phases of school reopening, and we are glad to say that during those 2 phases of school reopening, there were no major issues of flouting of restrictions. But if for any reason a school flouts the restrictions, there are ways of dealing with that. Not only these restrictions, but all school regulations and things like that. When schools flout them, there are regulations that cater for that. JHS for your B school, in Korana umbako JHS 1. Omonomufi primary 6 ebano. New curriculum I introduce ya na ye de ba ye be ye mfibe mienu a etwam na ye ne friend standard based curriculum na no omo di sua ade nti omo de new curriculum na sua ade na se omunya sa new curriculum so ne ntoaso na eno ne ntoaso no de ko JHS a ye friend no common core curriculum nti JHS 1 for no eno na omo de be sua ade JHS 2 and JHS 3 ne de the omo di sua ade sesi a no and on the best idea. Say a new curriculum now, this idea, say the overhead done now, this idea. The SSA Usia Bia, Wensia, and Sana, Emreno, COVID no buy me a better if you know. Yen she say, and say, Ubesiano, and San Westia for Frono, and I said that I know, Ubesia, the nurse Usia, now Wensia, Ubesia, inti, and she say, I know, be anywhere a beckham. Repemuno, Yabesa from her, near no more eddy, common core curriculum, no home, and como. Miss education, dear, near mano, a dozen tino, Yambasia the baby boom, and Eddie, school reopening tea, and Yabahasi. President, and Ra on your Casino, or can say, and she say, why, ya, as could be a Yabetre, say, Bunny said. Akwara bi ho dodo no na say bia COVID 19 ade a hospital a obetumi akọ nhyehyɛ bia ya ye fi be 2017 ye ne Ghana Health Service for na say no esan COVID ni tikra no ye hyemu kena na enye SHS for nko an ye yamom ye hwɛ omo wo primary any cage ni nyina so ye san hyehyɛ no oba ye ha se a ye division ba ko ye frɛ no SHEP school health na ye ne omo ne girls education ne ye nyina ye ne health for no ye won hyehyɛ a ye hwɛ sɛ nkora na pomuden ho ebekɔ yie enti ye go so den obi bisa sɛ ba sɛ school bi ana teacher bi ana head bi ofum emra na de be ma na de na ebe se yeyi emra we yeyi COVID 19 fi ho a ye wo mra de da wo ho a se wo ye teacher ni ana wo ye header udi so se fa school sam ho na be ye bosome nan num a etwam na ye bi school ye bie ma SHS 3 ne JHS 3 no ena ye san bie ma JHS ne SHS 2 no nyame adom ye nya se teacher ni bia na se school bia se omofum na me nyini se obia be na adwene se obe pese obe fum mra na so obe hyeda so ofum covid e sansa e kanka covid e de menyin so bia be pese obe fum mra e se eno no eye ewo hu asem to bia anya sa na emum se ba ne se bibi e ba ne sa ye wo kwan a ye fa so esi ano kwan me da se so apon.
I believe we've come to the end of the presentation. These are no questions. You end it here. Thank you very much, DG, for your time. Thank you, directors, for coming. And friends from the media, thank you. You still want to ask something?
It's not a question, but I'll